after that, again, I'll not keep on talking, or I'll not just give a theoretical knowledge. I'll try my best to give you the practical implementation of what you're going to see, or what you have, uh, what you're looking at my screen. And the last one will be the Q&A, and we'll wrap up. So, first thing first, yeah, let's go with the flow. And this particular image is like, I picked it from the Google, but this is the best image that I found on Google. So if someone comes and tell you that coding is a very important skill for workflow automation, you know what to do next, right? So those days are gone when, people can't survive without coding. I won't say that coding is not an essential skill. Coding is one of these essential skill. But if you are not a good developer, but if you have a good logic building skill, you can still survive in Salesforce. And Flow is the best example for that. Okay, so if anyone next time shows you this particular kind of words, you know what to do next. Okay, so first question from my end is like, how often you do you use flows? I expect the audience are of mix, like some are the beginners and some are the experienced ones. So before I ask you this question, how often do you use flows, the first thing is, what is flow, right? So when, I mean, flow is not the new concept that has been brought up. Flow was already there. It was called as visual flow. People were not using much because there was already the automation tool, which we say that workflow rule and process builder. Visual flow was already there, but it was not much powerful as compared to today. Okay, so what is flow? So flow is an automation tool, or in a better way, in a simple language, if someone asks you what is flow, we can say that it's an automation tool which is the upgraded version of your workflow rule and process builder, and it's trying its best to cope up with the triggers, right? You know triggers, right? We have a concept called trigger in development, right? So flow is something which is trying its best to cope up with the triggers, and it's like it's an upgraded version of your workflow rule and process builder. Now I answered what is flow. I want to know from your end, how often do you use flows? Anyone in the chat? Okay, I think most often we use flows, right? I mean, there might be hardly any situation, scenario where you are not using flows, because workflow has been deprecated, process builder has already been deprecated. Now the only thing remaining is flows. So I hope everyone is using flows. Can anyone tell me what are the different types of flows that are available? At least if you can't tell the different types, you can just tell the number, like how many different types of flows that are available as a number. Okay, yes, Chirag, it's five. Screen flow, not launch flow. Five, screen flow. Yeah, five. Yes, you all are correct. John, we have a good audience. They already have good knowledge of flow. So, yes, they are correct. We have five different types of flow: screen flow, auto launch flow, schedule trigger flow, platform event flow, and the last one is flow orchestration. Many people don't consider it, but yes, it's a type of flow which is again different from the normal flow that we have. Ha, this is an interesting question. What do you like the most about flows? Okay. I think if someone asks me what I like the most about flow is, I like the screen flow, because I don't need to go to my LWC component or Aura component, and I have to build the screen and then make it reactive and all that things. So I like the screen flow. And the second thing that I like very much is record trigger flow, because I'm the person who don't want to make the things complex. So I usually avoid using triggers, and I find it better to go and work on flows instead of going and working on triggers. So these are the two most important features that I liked in flows. One is screen flow and the record trigger flow. Obviously, there are other things as well, but these are the two things which I like the most. What about you, audience? I don't see any answer from anyone. Okay, screen flow. Yeah, thanks, Archana. Okay, fine. So we understood what is flow. We understood like what are the different types of flows that are available, and how often what do you like the most about flows. Now the next thing is we will start looking at the features that are available. Now again, before I talk about each and every features, I want to show you something. So this particular org is my before 24 release org, winter 24 release org. Okay, like you get, this is my pre-release org. Okay, and this is the org which is not having the update of winter 24. Okay, so what I will do is to show you the new features, I will compare it. Okay, I will compare the flow which was built before winter 24, which is this one. So if you found the URL Satyam Foundation, you can easily make a guess that this particular org is having flow which was built before winter 24, and this particular org is the pre-release org which is having all the updates of winter 24. Now if you want to try out all the features that we are going to learn today, the first and the foremost thing that you have to do is you have to go on Google, and using this URL, first you have to sign up for that org. So this org is having all the pre-release features. Okay, people who are already working in a project, you don't need to worry, because from October 10th all the new features of winter 24 has already been incorporated in your sandboxes. But people who are very new to Salesforce and they are using free developer org, you need to sign up. What I personally suggest is better you sign up for this org, because after winter 24 there will be spring 24. So you don't have to again sign up. Once you sign up for this pre-release org, you can use it anytime that you want. So I'll just copy this link and I will just paste it in the chat. If you want, you can make use of it. And I'm very sorry if you are finding it weird looking at, like I'm just looking above and saying it, because I have multi-screen and my screen is a little bit above, so I'm just looking up. So I hope that's not a big problem for you. So this is, again I'm telling you, please don't get confused, this is your org which are having updates of before winter 24, and this org is having updates of flows which are bought in winter 24. Okay, you have to just, this keyword, you have to look at this keyword. Okay, so the first feature that we have is auto layout user interface. Now this feature is very simple one, but yet very interesting. So what used to happen is, before winter 24, if I have, suppose if I have multiple elements inside my flow. Okay, now there are two types of layout in our flow. One is free form and the second one is auto layout. Okay, normally we use free form, like I use free form, or suppose if you are using auto layout. Okay, so what happens is, if you click on one element, okay, I think they have bought this feature in this. Okay, I'll just show you. Wait, I'll take this example. Yes. Now, what happened? What used to happen is, before 2024, if you have an element and if you are going to edit it, or if you are bringing up a new element, what used to happen is it used to come as a model pop-up. Now, because of this, whatever elements that are behind the scene, we are not able to view it, right? If I want to say, like, after my decision element, I want to check which is the next element. So what I will have to do is I have to cancel this, then I have to check, okay, this is the element which is after decision element. Okay, so because of this, what used to happen is I have to close the entire element, and then I would have to see the next element. But in winter 24 they have enhanced this. Okay, what they have done is, like, suppose I have this particular flow. Okay, now if I click on this particular element, not this one, sorry, this one. Okay, this is one of the element. Now this element, open it at the site. Okay, it doesn't come up as a pop-up. Now what is the benefit of this? Like, if you are looking at this element, you can see other elements which are connected to your flow, right, which was not there before winter 24. Like, it used to come as a model pop-up, but here it comes as a side screen. Like, your test element will open up in the detailed view at the side of the screen, and you can see all other elements that are available. So as I said, this is a very simple upgrade, but yet very important one. Now what's the next one? So the next one is display custom error message in the record triggered flow. Now what is this custom error message? Anyone? So where have you seen this custom error message? This is not the new thing, like you're not seeing the custom error message for the first time. You have already created custom error message screen. Okay, anyone else? Please share the screen. I'm already sharing it, Akshay. Okay. So the custom error message, what I'm trying to say is you all have seen an error, right? You all see the error. Like, so custom error means like you are the one who are building that error. You're finding out, like you want to show that error, right? Where have you seen? So most of you have seen the custom error message in the validation rules, right? Like if I have a validation rule, and if my validation rule, which I have, whatever rule that I have mentioned in the validation rule, and if it is not getting satisfied, it used to throw the custom error, right? Now they have bought the same thing in your flows. Okay, so what is the custom error that I'll show you? So before that, I'll just create a validation rule, and then I'll try to bring that validation rule inside my Winter’24 flow. Okay, so let me go ahead and click on object manager, and let me go to contact object. I've just seen the label. Okay, and let me have a validation rules. I have already created one, but I'll show you. So this validation rule is checking for your birthday. Like if your birth date is blank while filling out the data, if your birth date is blank, a validation rule is going to get fired. So let's check whether it is working or not. So I'll just go here. Okay, it's not contact, it's customer. I'll just click on new. And we all know that last name is the mandatory field, and I'm not filling up the birth date. Okay, I'll just try to save it. Okay, languages. Okay, yes. So this is the validation rule that is getting fired. So that means our validation rule is working fine. Now then, what was the need of having this custom error message? Now what happens is, I'll show you this scenario. I am trying to build up a scenario that whenever, and this is the most famous scenario, like all the freshers or someone, or like you all might have encountered in your once in your career, that whenever an account gets created, a contact should get created. Okay, so we'll come up with the same scenario. So here I have selected the object as account, a record is created, and I'm just, so this is like record trigger flow, and since it's a related one, so I'm selecting this one, actions and related records. Now here I will just sorry, click on create records, and I'll say create contacts. Here I'll just select use separate resources, and object will be again my contact, and here I'll set the field. So the mandatory field is last name, and here I'll give the last name as account dot name. Then I'll just mention email, and I'll just give a static value, and birth date I'm not entering it. Okay, just to show how it will work. So now when account gets created, a contact will get created, and the most important one, I have not mapped it, so I'll have to map it. So contact and account have a field called account ID which maps to each other. So I'll say account ID, and here I'll say account dot ID. Okay, now this is done. Now what's next? So the next one is to activate it, which is not the right thing. Okay, I'm just little confident on my flow. You should not do it. You should basically debug it and find out whether it's working fine or not. So I'll just go and I'll just create an account. So I'll say account test, and I'll just click on save. Yes. Now if you see, we got a validation error. Now, as an admin or a developer, you know very well looking at this line that it's a error which is coming from the validation route. But what as an end user, right? End user means the someone who is using your product. You have built an application, okay, on Salesforce, and someone is using it. They don't understand what is this all about, right? We can't save this for a record Winter’24 something something. Now how will they be able to read particular what is the error, right? So keeping this scenario in mind, they have bought Salesforce has bought this particular feature called custom error. Now to make use of custom error message element, first you will have to use something called as add fault path. Why this? Anyone? Why we need this? Because all your error get caught in fault message. Okay, I'll show you. There is one particular global variable there, your all your errors get caught. So I'll just say check for error. Okay, and here again I'll just mention error check, and here I'll mention the condition. Now where I said, right, there is one particular global variable where all your error will get stored, right? So there is one global variable inside this one called flow, and inside this there is something called fault message. Okay, here all your error whatever is coming in your flow will be stored, okay, or will get caught. So I'll say in my flow, sorry, in my while creating this while running this flow, I got this error, and I'll say that if my error, okay, if my fault message is containing like if it contains something called birth date cannot be blank, then you go ahead and show a custom error. This is the element that I'm talking about. Okay, custom error, and I'll just keep the name like label as show custom error, and I'll just give like I'll just say that birth date cannot be blank. Now did you find something similar here in a window on record page as an inline error on a field? I bet you have seen this particular kind of thing somewhere before. Anyone would like to make a guess, like where have you seen this? Yes, once like a catch block. Okay, validation, yes, Archana and Akshay both are correct. Yes, when you go to validation rules, right, there you will see this. So if you see this edit, if I click on edit, here you see this, right, error location top of the page or field, and the same thing is here. So yeah, it's the same thing. So what I'm trying to show you here is this is very much similar to your custom validation rule that you create. You can say that it's a replica of that. Okay, now let's see how it works. So I'll just click on save, and I'll just make it as it like everything as it is. I'll click on save, I'll activate this, and now if I try to save it, now this looks quite better, right? Birth date cannot be blank. So this is coming from your custom error message that you have created. Now we have handled, like we know that error is coming. Now we need to handle it, right? So what is the one thing that we missed? So we'll just go here and we'll just add it, and I'll say birth date. Birth date is the field, and I'll just give a random, like I'm just giving it a random one, but when you are working you can give the proper date. I'm just giving current date, and now I am saving it. So now I'll just activate this, and now if I go and try to create a record, Perfect. Account got created and contact also got created. Okay. So if I go to contact, so it in details it took the same name last with the name which was there. Now birth date it took as today's, and email is also taken. Sorry. So this is working like this is what your customer error message does. Okay. Now what's next? So the next one is filter flows in Flow Trigger Explorer. Okay, now this is again a very simple yet a very good feature that we have. So what is filter flows? Now before Winter 24, I think they have bought all the updates in this org as well, but let's try to show you. So before Winter 24, if you have multiple flows on a single object, okay, I'll go to Flow Trigger Explorer. So from here, if there are record trigger flows, okay, all that record trigger flows will be visible here. So I'll just say when a contact is, or when account, it's not, or let's suppose this contact request object, okay, is created, and if I want to see that there are multiple flows are created for this particular object, okay. So what used to happen is, I want to check which are the flows that are active, the flows which are managed one or unmanaged one. So managed one means that are like you have like that are already available, and unmanaged one which are the one which you created it. Okay, if I want to check that, so there was no option available before Winter 24. Okay, but from Winter 24 onwards, what they have done is, if I go to, okay, not this one, sorry. If I go to Flow Trigger Explorer, and here if I want to check, like this is account object and which are the flows that has been active and inactive, so I'll just click on this filter button and it will show here, right, which are the flows that are active. If there is any inactive flow, you just check it and there is no inactive flow. If there is any managed package, managed flows or something like that, or if there is any orchestration, flow type is orchestration or is just a flow, so it will show up here. Okay, so this kind of filters were not available before Winter 24. They have bought this in Winter 24. And the next one is transform beta element. I bet this is one of the best one that they have bought. Like I like this feature a lot. So transform beta element, I'll show you. So what if I say you have created this flow, right? And while creating this flow, like when account gets created, a contact should get created. This was the flow. So what all you did, you first you bought this element, then you selected like then you selected this, then you selected the object, then you mapped the fields and all that things you did. But what if I say I have one element which can do all these things just by some connection, like just by dragging some of the elements here and there, or making some connections. Isn't that the cool feature? Right? Let's try to check that. So I'll just go here and I'll just say transform. Okay. Now transform beta, again, this is in beta phase. When someone says in beta phase, that means Salesforce says that it's still in the testing phase, and if something goes wrong, Salesforce says that we are just working on it. Okay. So we'll just say transform account to contact. Okay. And here in the source data, what we will select is our object. So what is our object? That is account. I'll select account. Okay, and as soon as you select the account, you can see all the fields of that particular object, account object, all the fields, right? And you want to convert, like whenever account gets created, you want to have contact to be created, so the target data will be contact. Now here you get two options as a data type. One is record and the second one is apex define. Now what is apex define? Like suppose when you are creating the account and you want to store those values into a wrapper class, right? I'm not going to talk much about the wrapper class, but you want to store it in the wrapper class and then you want to do the further operations, then you can make use of apex define. Okay, but here I'm just having a simple one. I'll just select the record And as soon as I select the record, it's asking me the object. So here I'll just say contact. Okay. And when you saw, if you see this create record elements, okay, what happens here is when you select contact, here it asks you, right, you want to create one record or multiple records. Same thing is available here as well. So if I select here data type as record, and then if I select customer, which is nothing but contact, okay, here's if I'm getting the same option, one record or multiple. If you uncheck this, that means it's going to create one record. If you check this, that means it's going to create multiple records. Now if you see this again, all the fields of contact is coming up here. Isn't that cool? Now what to do next? So first thing first, I'll tell you one thing. Like suppose if I want to connect my ID with some field of the contact, ID of the account. Okay. Now this is a very good one. Like as soon as I click on ID, okay. So you don't need to click on that field. You need to click on this socket, this radio button kind of thing. This is called socket. As soon as you click this, all the fields, okay, whose data type is very much similar to this and who can accept the value of this data type will become enabled. Okay. Now id is a type of string, or in an admin term it's a type of text which contains both number and what do you say, text values. So all the fields which can accept those values are becoming enabled. Okay. So I'll just select this. So I have just clicked on this radio kind of button which is called socket. And if I want to map it to any of the field, I'll just need to click on that socket. So as soon as I click it, this gets mapped. Okay. So ID got mapped to account ID. Then I want to map name. So again, I'll go here and I'll click on this socket. And here I will just select last name. Okay. And one more thing, I have annual revenue. I will just map it with description. Okay. Now what if I want to remove this? Like if I want to delete this particular nodes that have been connected. So I'll have to, this time I don't need to click on socket. I have to click on that field. Once I click on that field, you get this option called delete. Okay. Again, I'll show you this annual revenue and description. And once I click on this field, I get this option to delete it. Okay. Now, if you see, apart from this, there was one more option that was available, which is called formula. So if you want to create any formula, like if I want to show annual revenue, now annual revenue is what? It's a currency field and description is a text field. Obviously, it won't accept, right? If you click on, see, it is showing, right? The formula expression is invalid. Formula result is data type number. So it is returning number, but our data type of description field is text. So we'll convert it. We'll just mention here text. And now if I click on check syntax, so now it is coming valid. Okay. Now one more thing, many people don't talk about this, but I'll tell you. Say though it is a description field, but your formula will never accept any text values. Like if I want to say that the annual revenue is, sorry, or if I remove this and if I click on check syntax, it start throwing an error. So this is a limitation, or you can say a drawback in your transform beta element. So it doesn't accept any kind of text or anything. It just takes accept formula. Now obviously this is a formula kind of field, so it won't accept any text values, right? This all things that we are writing, it won't accept it. But if I want to have it, what can I do? Anyone? If I want to include this in this, so what can I do? Let me check if someone is answering in the chat. Okay, there are multiple questions. Okay, fine. I'll answer these questions later. But yeah, I was asking a question. The question was very simple. Let me go back. I want this text to be here. So this is not allowing me, but I still want to include into my formula. How can I do it? Okay, I want to you want me to repeat the question? Let me check the timing. Okay, we have just 5-10 minutes more. So I want this particular text that I mentioned here, the annual revenue is, to be incorporated inside this formula. How will you achieve this? Typecasted to text. Okay. Concatenation inside formula. Okay. Amrutesh is very close to the answer. Typecast to text. So what do you mean? Like this? You mean typecast is like this? Text? Okay. No, this is not going to work. Yes, Amritesh, you were very close to the correct answer. Concatenate. So for that, what you are going to do is you have to use here assignment element. Okay. So in the assignment element, we'll just mention it here. Assign value to variable. Okay. And here we will just create one resource of type variable, and just we'll say that where data type is again text, and we'll mention the value here. Okay, it's already there. Click on done. Oh, okay. And we'll enter this value. There is one problem. I should have not done this. Done. Now I'll just go to my this description field, and here I'll just mention this. Not this one. I'll just enter where, and I'll just enter it here. Now if I click on check syntax, oh, it's taking it. Okay, so this is done. Now what next? I want to create records. So I'll just click on this, and I'll just erase it off all this. I'll just say use all the values of a record. So as many of you know, each element itself act like a variable, right? So all these things are stored here, and here I'll just select transform account to contact. So this element I'm bringing inside this create record elements. Now this is done. I'll click on save. Okay, I'll click on activate, and now I'll go ahead and I will try to I'll try to create a new account. So I'll just say mule remain, save it. Okay, birth date cannot be blank. Yes, I missed that in my flow. So here I'm not taking care of my birth date field. So I will just it's like we are remaining like we don't have much time to handle that. So I'll just deactivate this, and now I'll just click on save. So account got created, but contact didn't got created. And can anyone tell me what I missed this time in my flow? Okay, I think we don't have much time. I'll just tell you the solution here. I already have one particular flow created for it. I'm sorry, I'm just running out of time. So I don't have time to find debug the flow, but I have created one flow already. Yes. So the same thing it is doing. So this what it is doing is whenever an account gets created, a case is getting created. Okay. The same one. Nothing new. See. So I'll just go ahead, and if you see this, an account and that flow is active. Okay. So if you see here, I created an account just now and the case was created here. Okay. So this is a cool feature again, transform beta. So if you want to know more about it, You can check the official document. Now the fifth feature is uh, reactive components. Okay. Now this one was bought in summer 23 itself, but in summer 23 it was in beta phase. Now what are reactive elements? So if you have the developers here, we have some reactive screen component, reactive elements or reactive variables in our LWC, right? We use at the rate track variable, which acts as a reactive one, right? Two-way data binding that we do. The same thing they have bought in flows. Now, if you want to make use of reactive screen components, first you need to go to your settings setup, and you need to search for process automation settings, and here you need to search for reactive screen components. So enable reactive screen component for specific flow versions. You need to enable it, only then you can make use of it. So again, I have created one flow, so I'll just show you. This flow I created in summer 23 itself, and it's a very simple one. So let me, yes, summer 23. This one, I'll just click on run. Now what I'm doing here is, if you see this, like, I'll just explain you. So as soon as I enter the date, okay, here I'm having the reactive screen component. So based on my year of birth, it will just calculate my age. Okay, so I'll just go here and I'll just enter my date of birth, 2nd August, and it is calculating. Okay, if I go ahead and if I change it to January, and if I make it 1998, again this is calculating. So this is something called reactive screen components, which is now generally available, but it was in beta phase for from summer 23. Second last is pause element is replaced by wait elements. Again, this is not much like not much helpful, but I just came across one of the scenarios where like you're using a service cloud and you're registering a case through the phone, right? And some, like, when you are fetching the details, uh, your call got disconnected. So for that kind of situation, you can use pause element. Like, again, pause element is replaced by wait element. So if you want to see pause element, uh, it's available in scheduled trigger flow. So I'll just show you that as well. Scheduled trigger flow, create, and here you find this wait element. Okay, wait for conditions. Now here you can tell it, like, you want to wait for specific time or for specific date, month, something that you can mention here. Okay, so all these features are available in your pause element, which is again replaced by wait elements. This is, and the last and the most important one, which, like, again I'm going to come up with more sessions on this, is HTTP callouts. Like, this is the best feature I liked from summer 23. They have bought it, and this is one of the best feature that they have bought it. Okay, why? Because before uh, this being introduced in flow, it was only available through integration or through coding. Now you can do HTTP callouts directly through flows. So I'll just show you the overview. I can't go inside and can show you, but I'll show you the overview of how it looks like. So if I go here and if I just type out action element, here I get this option called create HTTP callout. Now this is a very wide, like, very big concept, so I won't be able to cover it in 5 minutes or 2 minutes. But again, I'm going to come up with more sessions on this. So I'll just mention a name credential. I'll just say code generation or code, and here you can see all the methods like get, post, put, patch, delete. Before Winter 24, there were only two methods, get and post. Okay, but now they have five, all the five methods that we normally have when we make HTTP callouts. So again, this is like just an overview. If you want to know more about it, just stay in touch. I will deliver upcoming days. I'm going to deliver sessions basically on HTTP callouts. So with that said, I hope you all will agree with this screen, just going with the flow. So this is the future, flow is the future. And I will just request you, if you have not started learning flow, please start doing it, because in future flow is going to become one of the very important tool. Okay, so let me jump quickly to the questions. Okay, let me check. Yes, Suhan, it's like a try catch block where, okay, is this video recorded? I think yes, this is recorded. John, it's recorded, right?
Yes, yes, it is recorded.
Yeah, this is recorded. You will get the recording, Teju. Orchestration flow means, yes, I think it will take another one session to talk about our flow orchestration. Can we map single account field to multiple contact fields? No. So if you are asking me like single account field to multiple contact fields, I'll show you. I understood your question. So you mean to say something like this: one field mapping it to multiple ones. This is not going to happen. So that you can't do as of now. Then we have, please repeat. Okay, concatenation inside formula. Yes, we did. Can you explain what was the need to use extra assignment element? Uh, Archana, did you understood why I used it, or still you want to know it? Okay. Recently, just type in your question answer, Archana. So I'll take it if you want me to explain it again. Recently, I couldn't be able to deploy record trigger flow with a custom validation to production because of version 59. How to resolve it? Okay, Archana, you got it. How to resolve it and deploy? So the this Akshay, I think for that version control, like I have to check like your flow. I can't tell you directly without looking at your flow. Maybe some of the element, or if you're using the active screen component, that might be the issue. But I can't just directly comment it out without looking at your flow. Maybe you can connect with me on LinkedIn and then I can help you out. Any other questions, people? No. Okay, fault connector. I couldn't. Sorry. What is that? I didn't understand your question, Akshay. Okay, you didn't understood fault connectors. Okay, so Akshay, do one thing. You connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay, I'll just send, like, I have given a session only on fault connectors, like exception handling using flows. So you just connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll share the video with you, because I need to find out that video. Any other question, anyone? Okay, I'll take it as no. So thank you so much for being such a patient audience and listening it out. And yeah, that's all from my end. I'll just hand it over to John.
Thanks, Aman. Thanks for the great session. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank, thank you so much. Yes, John, they're asking for the recording. Where can they find the recording?
We can share the recording. Those who are
Okay. So I think John will send you on your, if you have registered for this session, obviously you'll get it on